Have Sonos just killed the Apple AirPods Max? That's likely what a lot of people will be asking when they see the Sonos Ace, and at launch they're priced at $449, which actually makes them a little bit more affordable, so that's an instant win versus the AirPods. And they're designed to work equally as well on iOS and Android, so that's another win. And can I let you guys in on a little secret? These have a feature that a lot of reviewers have kind of glazed over, which could actually make these a lot better for Android users, and I'll explain what that is a little later on in the video. But it is safe to say right now, on the compatibility front, it's another instant win for the Aces. And check this out, unlike the Apple AirPods Max, they do have a power button, and that's another win. So yeah, Sonos have kind of aced it versus the AirPods Max straight out of the gate. And in my personal opinion, it's kind of like they've just done this to Apple.
Smell it, smell it, smell it, now take it. That's for you.
So stick around and I'll explain why I say that. And the reality is, Sonos are not only very good at audio, but they also seem to be equally as good at design. And with these headphones, their first ever headphones, they've seemed to have solved some problems that you might experience with a lot of other premium headphones out there right now. And I'll highlight what those are as we go through my top killer features here on the Sonos Ace. And there is one feature specifically that truly separates these from the pack. And I'm actually very excited about this feature. Anyway, let's start with number one, the design. Now, this is just my opinion, despite how good the AirPods Max might be, because they are actually very, very good. Whenever I see people wearing them, it always reminds me of Princess Leia's hair buns, which is a great look for the ladies, but not so much for men. And the Sonos Ace, on the other hand, has an almost similar shape to the AirPods, but with nicer lines that kind of break up the rounded surface on the back of the ear cups. Also, the stainless steel grills and hangers used make them look very premium, and the hinges are also very cleverly designed to blend seamlessly into the ear cups, and it kind of gives them an elegant and classy look. And this actually brings two big advantages to the Sonos Ace, and maybe one little disadvantage. The upsides are that racetrack yoke is firmly secured and protected inside, and it's very unlikely to ever develop any creaking or cracking after prolonged use because it is protected. And because the hinge is hidden, it actually reduces the potential of accidental pinching of the skin or snagging of your hair. This is something that you're much more likely to experience with headphones that actually have collapsible hinges. And that brings me on to the possible downside that some people might mention. They're not collapsible, so they can't compact into a smaller form factor when you're carrying them around. Now, I might have agreed with that had the carry case been very big or bulky, but it isn't. It's actually quite a bit thinner than my Sony XM5 case, and don't even get me started on Apple's handbag wrap thing.
What? What the fuck?
And check this out, I got this recently, inspired by MKBHD. It is indeed magnet paper. This case does use magnets to hold the cable pouch in place. It's such a simple idea, but perfectly executed. And if you're wondering what goes in the pouch, well, in the box with the Sonos Ace, you do get a USB-C to analog audio cable and a C-to-C charging cable, which can also be used for audio. And something that's cool about this case, if you're an eco warrior, you'll be happy to know the carry case is constructed from 75% recycled plastic bottles. Anyway, back to the headphone design. Another problem that you may run into with other premium headphones is the inability to clean the inside of the ear cups. And this is one of the things that Sonos has solved. With this brilliant design and the use of more magnets, the ear cups are not only removable and replaceable, but they also have a mesh inside, which is super easy to clean, barely an inconvenience. And something that I really like about the Aces is how they do have a slim profile, but they also have a good amount of memory foam padding on the ear cups and across the headband at the top. They're very nice, no complaints from me. They are definitely some of the most comfortable headphones that I've ever tried. The ear cups are wrapped in durable vegan leather. It's a unique EPU material, and you'll have to subscribe and hit me up a little later down the line to see how they hold up over time. Now, one thing about the design, if I'm nitpicking, is the fact that the ear cups don't actually turn inwards. They only turn outwards when around your neck. And I did ask a Sonos engineer about this, and the reason they fold like this is due to the wiring. Apparently the wires won't allow for the ear cups to twist inwards. So the solution for this is to actually take them off, turn them around, and that way they can lay flat against your chest if you want to wear them like that. And that might seem like a lot of work to some people, but when you think about it, it's kind of a first world problem. Now, something I appreciate a lot about the style and the branding here is that instead of plastering Sonos logos everywhere on the headphones, Sonos have actually done it in a much more subtle and thoughtful way, with the logo being only on one side and placed right next to the content key, which is the button you'll use the most when using the headphones. And the great thing about this is it means you can use your sense of touch to locate the button, which makes using them a little bit more effortless. Now, here's something interesting about the design on the Aces. Sonos have used this racetrack shape, and they've actually used it a lot on other Sonos designs. For example, the Arc, the Era, the Move, and you'll notice it here on the Aces design too, most notably on that content key. And this brings me really nicely onto another big feature that I think elevates the Sonos Ace. It is indeed that content key. And I wrote down a couple of bullet points when I first tried these headphones on at the Sonos pre-brief. Everything feels intentional. And what I meant by that is there's no hit or miss with the content key. It slides up for volume up, slides down for volume down. And a push inwards will pause play, double push to skip track, triple push to skip back. And the second bullet point that I wrote down was I like how it feels mechanical. And what I meant by this is that the spring resistance makes it feel very responsive and is strong enough that you're not going to trigger it by accident at any point just by swiping it with your shoulder or something. And there are two more buttons that are present on the Aces that serve specific purposes. The circular button next to the content key toggles through the ANC modes. Out of the box, it will just be ANC on and ambient mode, but you can remap this to have an off option here as well. And when you do toggle through the modes, you do get audio cues inside the headphones. There's no voice cues though, so you have to get used to the tones that they use. And a push and hold here on the circular button does activate your AI assistant. Now on the left ear cup, you have the power key, which also doubles up as the Bluetooth pairing button when held down. And they do have wear detect sensors inside the ear cup. So when you take them off your head, they will pause. When you put them back on, they will resume. And if you take them off and leave them off, they will auto power down. And if you're wondering about the battery life here on the Sonos Ace, it's up to 30 hours with ANC on. And something else that I like about the ear cups is the color coding inside. So when you pick them up, you instantly know which one is right and which one is left. Anyway, moving on to another feature, it is of course the Sonos app support, which is ever evolving and improving over time. The connectivity between the headphones and an iPhone, for example, will be SBC and AAC, exactly like the Airpods Max. However, that feature that I mentioned in the beginning that could make this even better on Android is the Snapdragon sound support. Now, the reason why Snapdragon sound and aptX adaptive is so important and could be a massive advantage to Android users is that it can deliver a higher bitrate than Apple's preferred AAC high-res codec, which means your music has the potential to sound even better when paired with a Snapdragon device, for example, the Samsung Galaxies. It's a pretty big deal, technically speaking. So if you are an Android user and you've been looking for an AirPods Max alternative on Android, this could well be one of the best options out there right now. These headphones use a Bluetooth 5.4 chip, which means multi-point pairing is possible, and connectivity has been fantastic during my use of these headphones. Now, there is something that I know a lot of people were kind of hoping for with the Sonos Ace, and that was Wi-Fi support, so that you could connect these up and kind of link them with your other Sonos speakers, which would mean you wouldn't have to use Bluetooth to get audio to the headphones. And that would have been really nice, and something makes me think that Sonos might add that in the next gen. Anyway, back to the app. Here you do have the ability to switch off ANC entirely if you want to, and you can even tweak the wear detect sensors, so if you receive a call, you can answer the call by putting the headphones on your head. And something that's nice to see here is you do get access to a very simple EQ that allows you to adjust the bass and the treble, and I'll give you guys my opinion on the sound quality in a moment. Anyway, just below the EQ, you can enable Dolby head tracking. Now, if you're not familiar with this, this places the audio directly in front of you so that when you turn your head, it actually stays in place, which is a great way to emulate a live performance or being at a movie theater. And this brings me on to that feature that I said in the intro I'm very excited about. Now, this feature is a Sonos ecosystem specific feature and something that I've never heard of or seen before on any other headphone. Check this out. Let's say it's a late night and you're watching a movie or you want to play some games with your home cinema setup, but you can't because you'll wake up the whole house and probably piss off your neighbors. Well, this unique feature can allow you to map a virtual sound into the Ace headphones, which is tailored to the acoustics of the room that you're in. And it does this based off of your current audio setup. For example, right now with my Arc here, this is calibrated using the TruePlay for this room. It takes that TruePlay setup and actually maps it into the Ace headphones. So the audio from the source is interpreted by the Sonos Arc and transferred to the Sonos Ace, and it works incredibly well. So even if it was the night before Christmas and nothing was stirring, not even a mouse, you could jump on Call of Duty and blow some stuff up and experience the audio in a way that's very similar to what you used to when you're not wearing the headphones. That is an epic feature, and at the time of this video it's only supported by the Sonos Arc. However, Sonos are rolling out support to the other soundbars like the Beam, for example. So you'll have to keep an eye out for those future updates if you do have a different Sonos soundbar. And if you watch the channel, you'll know that I like gaming, and of course I have tested these out with quite a lot of gaming, and I'm very impressed with the performance. My initial concern when it came to gaming was audio lag, but for me, I don't really notice it at all. Even when you pull a trigger, the shot goes off pretty much instantly in the headphones. You get good virtual sound, so you can hear people creeping around just as you would with a proper gaming headphone. The mic pickup on here won't be sent to the console or anything like that. But if you're playing a single player game or anything like that, cinematic types of games, you're gonna love the audio that you get with these when gaming, which is something that's not that easy to do with a lot of other headphones. Now, the fourth feature which really impressed me, I did take these on a flight to Barcelona and back again, and I really got to test out the ANC with all the sort of crowd noise, the plane noise, and all this kind of stuff. My current go-to headphones for noise cancelling is the Sony XM5s, and these are just as good. And actually, I think the pass-through mode on these are a little bit clearer. And I've heard a lot of people saying that the pass-through mode is as good as the Apple Airpods Max. So that's a pretty big deal. On the way back from Barcelona, I did fall asleep with these on and the ANC on. And that's a testament to how good the ANC is and how good the comfort is. And actually, these are quite a bit lighter than the AirPods Max as well, which again is another win versus the AirPods in my opinion. Now let's talk about the sound quality. I'm just gonna keep it simple. These sound fantastic with the stock sound signature. However, if you are a bit more of a bass head, you do get the ability to turn up the bass, and these are very capable. They have unique 40mm drivers which have been designed specifically for Sonos. Sonos do tend to keep things a bit more flat in terms of the stock EQ. They don't go too bass heavy or too sharp with the treble. The great thing is there's enough maneuverability there with the basic EQ to add a little bit and take away a little bit, so you can really tailor the sound for yourself. Now, when it comes to Dolby head tracking, there's a couple of scenarios where I would recommend it, and there's others where I would say you should switch it off. So a good example of this is if you're going to be on an airplane or on a bus and you know you're going to be in a fixed position for a while, that's a perfect time to use it. And it's more well suited for movie content, so you have to be mindful as to when you want to use that head tracking feature. But when you do, it does make the soundstage open up pretty massively. Not to say that the soundstage doesn't sound very impressive even when it's off. It actually is one of the nicest sounding pair of noise cancelling headphones that I've tried in quite a while. And for a little while I did turn the bass up for the more bass heavy types of music, but I actually ended up turning it back because I just love the stock Sonos sound. Anyway, I could ramble on forever about how it sounds. So let me cap this off with 5 key areas where, in my opinion, these kill the Apple Airpods Max. I know that does sound a bit extreme, but check this out. So the compatibility is the big winner for these. If you're on Android, these are going to be better for you than the AirPods, obviously. Even if you're on iOS, I do think these could be better for you if you like the style of these and you're already in the Sonos ecosystem and you have a soundbar like the Arc. The buttons are some of the best implementation of controls on a headphone that I've ever used. They're just really nicely placed, very easy to use and understand. Another big win for these is of course the ability to use them for consuming movie content at home and playing games at home via your soundbar and using that audio profile that's already been mapped to your living room or wherever you have your soundbar. That is something that really separates these from the crowd. And in my opinion, versus the AirPods Max, these sound better, the ANC is just as good, and so is the pass-through mode. And maybe most importantly to some of you, it won't make you look like Princess Leia from Star Wars. So let me know what you guys think of the Sonos Ace. If you want to check out some more of my Sonos reviews, those thumbnails are on screen right now. Appreciate you guys for watching this one. I'll see you in the next one. Don't be late.